Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode in Season 4 of the Good Enough Gaming Podcast. Today's episode is entitled, God, I'm About to Ragnarok Your Socks Off. Well played. Well played. So, I feel like this week, Daryl's attempting to dethrone me as the king of puns. So, strap in for this description, because it's a doozy. You know what's knocking at the Thor? Oh, didn't we tell you? It's just the greatly anticipated return of Kratos and Atreus, or Loki, in the next chapter of God of War, Ragnarok. Kyle has only gotten Baldr. If you can't tell, I'm giving Daryl the finger right now. Wait, you can't.
Haven't we all? Yeah.
Yeah. Kyle has only gotten Baldr since the last one released. Join us as we give our initial thoughts and feelings on the new game, the storyline, and the gameplay overall. Maybe we might even shed a tear or two. We'd love to hear what you all think, your initial thoughts and feelings as well. So take a good look in the Mimir and let us know what you think. It'd be a Sin-dri if you didn't give us your feedback. Thanks. You guys, Brok.
Oof.
Oh, what do you mean, oof? That's amazing.
Like in the best like dad joke groaning oof.
Yeah, that was something else, Daryl.
I packed it all in there. It's
you should. Yeah, you did. I'm surprised you didn't get any more in like Norse mythology in there, but it was a pretty solid jump in there.
We'll have our pun off one day. It will happen.
Yeah, it sure will.
1v1 me, bro.
I don't know. I'm currently like over on like 1v1s. The last time I tried to do that, I picked a fight with a martial arts master.
That's true. Yeah.
And it wasn't good choices.
Your Highlander battle of your name did not go well.
Didn't go well. That being said, this new God of War, it's not quite like a Highlander battle per se, but I'm only like a couple hours in right now. I'm just in the dwarf world of Svartalheim. And I'm really impressed. Like already, it jumped right back into the game. It feels like the last God of War. And my God, the first hour opens with like,
just a couple heavy hitters right out the gate.
Oh my God.
Starts like a fucking John Wick movie.
Yeah.
So obviously
there was a dead dog.
That's what I mean.
Obviously going forward, spoilers, no shit. But this is just our initial reactions to it. I know like I'm only a couple hours in. Trevor's probably the deepest in, I think.
I think so.
Between Jordan and Trevor, they're probably the deepest into the game.
Yeah. Daryl and I have barely grazed the surface, but we just need to get a bit of play in to see how it went. That being said, that opening, my God, like, isn't like, so Kratos is like almost 7 feet tall, right? Like, he's like,
I think he's like 6 foot something.
6.
I think he's just like an average dude. Right?
Fact checker.
Who knows?
How tall is Kratos?
I'd laugh if he was like 5'2".
Oh, he's officially 6'4".
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so Kratos being 6'4" and jacked, when he first meets Odin, or not Odin, but Thor, and Thor just like fucking towers over him.
Yeah, I was like, how tall is Thor?
Yeah, like 7.5, 8 feet of just like pure gut and
pure power.
He's been hitting
the real
need.
Thor.
Yeah,
The real
some
Thor.
power belly. But like that first hour opening where it's like, oh shit, here's Thor and Odin wanting to make a deal. Like, what? Like I was not expecting to interact with them just so quickly.
Well, and I was like, are these guys afraid of Kratos? Because it's like, if you're trying to spark a deal like this early, I was like, they must feel like there's something going on there that they need to be worried about, or they're trying to trick him. But
yeah, they're playing all the sides because once you get into it a bit more, like with Ragnarok, and essentially Odin is trying to cheat. He's trying to play all sides of the hand and like control everything based on all of the the prophecies and stuff like that. So I'm sure we'll get into it. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get into it later. Pretty much like all the gods, even Kratos had that, right? All the Greek gods, they all tried to cheat the system.
Yeah, so, cheat death. Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll get into it later. I haven't gotten to that part yet, but
how far are you into the game? How many hours?
I think somewhere in like the 15. I want to say 15 hours.
Okay, yeah. So you'll be the furthest ahead of us.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, I'm only like 2 or 3, and I mean, like I've already enjoyed a little bit of like platformy puzzle solving in the like Svartalheim. But I mean, like just the implications of Thor and Odin making that early appearance, like you said, trying to cheat the system is very like on brand for the gods, right?
Yeah.
I also like that they didn't make Odin also like this towering giant of a human, superimposing with his just being like this buff dude and rip you in half type thing. Like Odin he's a schemer, he's kind of whimsical. He's going to talk his way into a lot of scenarios in his favor, and the actor that they chose for him, I thought so far anyway, is bang on. Like he fits that so well. Same thing with Thor as well.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah, it's Opie from from Sons of Anarchy.
Sick.
Yeah, I had to look it up as like the voice actors for it. I was like, oh shit. I mean, and then like once I start thinking about it, it's like, yeah, that's definitely him.
Yeah. Or, for the old people in this podcast, he is also in Remember the Titans.
I was gonna say that's the other one.
For some of our younger listeners, they may not know what the fuck that movie is, but
also classic.
That is a damn good movie.
Classic.
Yeah. But so far the newer characters that they've introduced have all been super interesting. Once again, the dwarf brothers are hilarious.
Well, I love Sin-dri and Brok.
Oh, they're the best. I mean, fucking Sin-dri pulling out a mop bucket to clean up his front entryway of his house. So, like, just all those little moments of levity in between ripping demons in half, and like it's such a good balance that they've found with these last 2 games now of like intense brutality, and I'm gonna cry laughing because some of the dialogue, or like Mimir is also really funny.
Oh my god.
Too.
Yeah. Did you know that one sort of like little tidbit I discovered already with like a couple of the poems that you find? They're all references to PlayStation games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what?
Like, yeah. The first one I found was like, this is Horizon.
Yeah, there's Horizon,
yeah.
There's a Last of Us, Uncharted, and then the one the internet blew up about, they were like, oh my god, it's canon, because apparently everything has to be canon now. There was one about like the PlayStation, was it
like PlayStation
All-Stars Battle Royale?
Because it makes some joke about him fighting, I think it's about fighting Parappa the Rapper or something like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And everyone's like, oh my god, PlayStation All-Stars is canon. I'm like, this isn't a fucking Marvel movie. It's a little Easter egg. Like,
it's not the MCU, guys.
Chill out.
Chill.
We're not making another one. Just chill out.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's pretty gold. I like that.
I do appreciate too that like Did you read in the article that the devs were like concerned that they didn't make a good game?
Yeah, only a couple months out of release too.
Yeah. And then, reviews come in, it's like 10s across the board. And it's like game of the year talks already.
Yeah.
Like, which, I mean, rightfully so.
Well,
I think that like it's definitely going to be in the conversation. It makes sense. I was worried when I first jumped on that they were going to take a whole bunch of the features like that you had unlocked throughout the first one away, and you were going to have to like introduce them slowly or whatever. Yeah. I liked that the tutorial part of like that first area, just in case like for whatever reason you didn't play the last one, you could figure out kind of what to do when you got like a little refresher of some of the buttons. But like you could just jump in and be like, oh yeah, like I'll just aim and throw the axe and I'll be fine. Like I can do this, or I know that R2 is heavy and R1 is light, and just kind of go. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. They just got rid of some of the runes. They like wiped the magic, which is fine. With the winter storm
and the armor.
Yeah.
But it gets ripped off of you in the battle, like when you're battling Freya, like on your sled cart there with the wolves, like you're losing it as you're fighting. So I was like, okay, whatever. This is like that. Oh, I went into the water in Horizon and now my armor doesn't work.
We need a reset mechanic. What's the reset mechanic?
This is it.
I think this game so far kind of dodges the bullet of what a lot of sequels run into. And, we've had that complaint on episode with Horizon Forbidden West. And then I know we've talked off camera. I think Trevor, you and I have both agreed on Neo 2, where, they take like the core gameplay and the core feature set and they go, okay, we've got a sequel. How can we like overlay, a dozen new mechanics and gameplay sets, and like sometimes more isn't always better. And so far with Ragnarok, they've changed enough that it feels like an evolution from the 2018 version, but it's not a complete overhaul.
It still stays very true to it, and like if you played the first one, it all feels extremely familiar, right?
It feels the same.
It's very similar to like Elden Ring, right? They're like, okay, most of the mechanics are very similar, and then they're like, well, if you add a jump, like how does that alter so many other things? Like you don't need to add a jump and a whatever. Like you don't need to add 10 mechanics. You need to add 1 or 2 because
Here's
that
a ghost goat.
Yeah, it kind of like ripples into other things. So I think with same with like I sent you guys a clip with like the swing mechanic. You can swing and then like dive attack people. And some of the other traversal stuff they've opened up a little bit more for Kratos to like use his chain blades so that he can like kind of like traverse quickly in combat. And they make a lot of arenas where you can actually do that. And it makes it super awesome, and it's really smooth. Like to like vault over a ledge and just jump on somebody. It's like, wow, that's actually like that's pretty good.
Yeah, the larger battle arenas have been a really nice like again kind of that evolutionary step for a series that is used to be very linear but has gotten kind of bigger and bigger and more open spaced. I had one battle sequence where I was fighting on the ground. Then I, slingshotted my way up onto a ledge to meet another guy. And then I hit my axe into another dude's chest, threw him off the ledge, and then did like a dive power bomb to another group of enemies and like smashed all of them to pieces, all within probably 15 seconds of each other. And like to Trevor's point, everything in that sequence felt incredibly smooth, no jankiness. Like every button press had a specific reaction. And like that's what this game does so well is everything feels very intentional in the best way possible.
This will be a bit of spoilers for anyone listening, watching, and a bit maybe for Kyle Darrell. I'll keep it like light, but I'm sure Jordan's gotten to this point. Do you find with Kratos I find they do a really good job adding, kind of like with the Elden Ring, they add a bit of a weight mechanic, where the dodge is a little slow, and then when you do eventually get to play as Atreus,
Oh, sick!
it is like, I won't get into his mechanics and everything, but he's definitely much quicker.
He's zippy.
Like, well, even just the dodge, you're just like, I was like, they almost make you want to play him more, because you're like, oh, I can dodge more attacks. I don't have to take as much damage.
Yeah.
Like, not any specific mechanic, or I'm not like trying to lie my way around some sort of like special powers, but like, honestly, just the way he like dodge rolls is just like, the response time is just a little bit quicker. You're like, okay, he's smaller, he's quicker.
It's like,
that's a
like
great
switching.
facet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's like switching from Gimli to Legolas, right?
Yeah, exactly. Toss me.
It's kind of a cool transition. Like, the opening mission for him is really fun. The only thing I'll say from that part, and I've seen it on social media and stuff as well, is the first like loot chest Atreus comes across.
So good.
He tries to arm smash it like Kratos does, and it just like thuds against the top of the chest. and he's like, "Ow, like that hurts. That looks so much easier." It's like, yeah, just these little like levity moments are so good. I really laughed at that.
That and the companions. So I wouldn't say it's constant, but you guys will find out, like, they do make moments through the game to tell story, but you're with one of the other companions. So instead of always Kratos and Atreus, you get to deal with somebody else who has kind of they react in the same way, right? Like Atreus, you can shoot them with arrows or whatever.
Okay.
You have a different buddy who has a slightly different skill.
Do you choose?
As of right now, I'm not at a point where you can choose. I don't know if you can later on as like part of the, questing to do, hidden collectibles.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten there, so I don't know. But there are parts where I've used at least 3 or 4 people now.
Oh, okay, cool.
In varying combinations, which is actually it's really cool. That was something I know we talked about on the last God of War episode. Was like, I want to play Atreus, I want to use some of these other skills, and they've really it looks like they actually explored that quite a bit.
Sweet.
He heard us.
Yeah. They're listening.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so far just like polished, and everything is so detailed. They've definitely the way that because we were kind of talking about like game of the year contention and stuff like that, and like Ragnarok is very much so more God of War, so if you enjoyed the 2018 version, this is everything that you loved about that game, just refined and improved upon and kind of tweaked, and I don't mean that in a negative way, or in like I wish that they did more. Like we said, sometimes more isn't always better. But even the addition of more side quests has been really nice. I haven't done too many, but the side missions that I have done so far have had like their own narrative arc. They're
kind of like Tsushima, right?
Yeah, very similar to that. So they've felt very worthwhile. It's not just like a fetch quest where you, hey, go here, grab this, bring it back to me, and then that's it. Like, they're a little more involved, which I appreciate.
They also did. I found they did a really good job of placing them at like really good points in the game where it's just like, hey, you just completed this section of main quest. Keep going, or just like pop off to the side for a bit. Like, it's not
perfect. Yeah.
It's not that overload you get in some games where you think of like a Skyrim or something, right? Where like you go into your quest log and you're just like, holy fuck. Yeah. Like, oh god.
Like Horizon, right?
Yeah, or like the Horizon.
Open up the map for the first time, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's probably a bit more linear than even Tsushima, where it's just like there's usually only like, unless you don't do them, there's really only one to do at a time aside from the main quest. But it's, I know it kind of streamlines the game so that they can keep telling the story, versus just like throwing a bunch of random shit, because it is. I mean, it is Ragnarok. They're trying to build to this, kind of conclusion. So they don't want you being like, okay, go help, go pick up a bunch of stuff for the villagers. It's like, no, it's like some serious stuff going on.
There definitely feels like there's a little bit of Metroid in it too, just in the sense of like, I've already run into a couple areas where I don't have the right gear or I don't have like a special ability or something. And it's very clear there's something there that I can complete or collect. But it's like, oh shit, I got to come back after I've finished more of the main quest, or, I need to get this specific ability to traverse this area. So there's going to be a little bit of that,
I think
backtrack.
Based on an IGN review I saw, he's like, I tried to do everything and I had most of the things. I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to you pretty much have to next game plus this to have all the mechanics and like replay through it to get to certain points. Cause I think there's obviously a point where you can't go back to areas. So I think that's going to be part of it, is that they're like, to get all the trophies, if you are a trophy hunter, you might have to play through it twice.
I'm not a huge fan of New Game Plus Platinums myself.
No.
Neither am I.
I don't know if you have to do it on ultra hard, but like to play through it again with all the skills and everything, I was like, yeah, I could do that.
If it's an ultra hard platinum, I'm out.
It's always...
I don't have the time for that shit.
Those always kind of ruin it.
I struggle to replay the same game back to back. Just to get a platinum. So sometimes what I'll do, if that's the case, sometimes what I'll do is I'll do as much of it as I can, get as many trophies as possible, and then I'll come back to the game in like 6 months.
Yeah. I just struggle to play games.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like you at all, Kyle.
Kyle's lucky if he finishes it the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's between my attention span and...
Unless it's like an Elden Ring where you can restart with a new class or like really play it differently. It's tough with like a linear story game to like do it all over again, right?
There's only so much you can change, right?
Yeah, like just experiencing that with Gotham Knights, like already. Like the only caveat to playing it again is you just play as a different character, you get different cutscenes, you get different experience, which is that makes it replayable. Yeah.
Even just like different battle mechanics and stuff like that. Yeah. So we'll have to see once we kind of get through the game, but that's kind of my expectation.
From the looks of it, we might be okay.
Ooh.
Are there missable trophies? That's always like one of the other ones that kills me, because I'll like go through an area.
That's like a Final Fantasy thing where they're like, no, you can't go back to that city ever again.
Yeah.
Sorry, all those trophies are dead now.
You didn't collect those 5 chickens for the farmer? Well, the village is
you're done.
Yeah.
Welcome to Fallout. That village is gone.
One of like the first Horizon, or the first like the PS4 God of War, one of them had multiple missable trophies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember that.
I feel like that may have been Horizon.
Yeah, especially story. There's certain story components that essentially block off previous areas or collectibles. Yeah.
Looks like it doesn't look like there's anything that's like missable.
Okay.
Nothing tied to trophies or completion is missable.
And there is like there's like the teleport waypoint system. So I mean, I'm assuming there's similar to Horizon or lots of main story games where they're like, once you pass this point, like you cannot go back until you beat the game. So I'm sure there will be a point there, but before that you can go and redo all the areas.
It's got free roam too after.
Oh, perfect! Yay!
Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay,
that helps.
That's all I needed. Yeah.
Okay, so
that's all I needed to know.
Potentially,
I'll just
you don't
do it all at the end.
Yeah, most of it I've been getting as I go. As long as you're, like looking to explore a bit, like nothing's crazy hidden, right? Nothing is super open world where there's a corner, right? It's like, okay, this path kind of branches left and right. Just make sure
I'll
you
go
don't do
both
this
ways.
Yeah, you try one, and then if you're like, oh, this is where the story is, shit, gotta go back. And then the biggest one's just the puzzles of how to kill all the fucking Odin ravens, little green ghost bastards.
The Ravens are back?
Oh, yes. Unfortunately.
He's always watching.
Yep.
Always.
I thought that was really dope when he when they opened up the door for him and the Ravens flew out and they just flew into his arms.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. Okay. Yeah. I thought they were gonna land on him or whatever and just hang out. And I was like, just became part of him. I was like, oh dang, this just got real sorcerer. Like this got real.
Tricksy.
But so far I've been enjoying all the characters they brought in. Have you guys met the tree squirrel?
No.
I just got to Sin-dri's place.
Okay. That's one of the next people. I think he's related to one of the summons from the previous game. I can't remember his name.
Okay.
But you interacted with him in the previous game because they talk about it. I was just like, I can't even remember him. He's essentially the keeper of that because they're in the world tree. Is where they're he's the keeper of the tree, so he's a fucking squirrel.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
The last person I talked to, I think I sent a picture. You guys has the squid, the little baby squid as a pet.
Like Brok and Sin-dri's like cousin or whatever.
Yeah. When the little squid comes out of the jar and like hangs out on his shoulder, I was like, that's fucking sweet. Yeah.
Well,
I've got to say that leads into one of my favorite parts of the game. It is so funny. You'll know what I'm talking about. Essentially, all you have to think about, Jordan, when you get to that part is someone not enjoying an amusement park ride.
Okay.
And you guys know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think it's time to take a break. And in this break, it's our very, very first treasure trove pick of the year.
Ooh.
So we're gonna hand it over to Jordan as he delves deep into the treasure trove. Treasure trove.
Yes. So first treasure trove of the season. Some added pressure there. I was able to collect more for the trove, so there's an extensive list, but I'm going to keep it on point with what we're talking about this episode. And
God of War 4.
My suggestion this week is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Now, I don't know if anybody's played this before.
That's a mouthful.
I never played that one, but that was the one that was all about, is it schizophrenia?
Yes. So this game actually takes place in Norse mythology as well. It mostly takes place in Helheim, but it is a very dark take on that. And the main character deals with schizophrenia, and the developers, they probably has some of the best audio design of any game I've ever played. If you have a good headset, wear it. If you have surround sound, turn that shit up. Because
I've heard the voices.
You hear voices in her head all over the place as you're playing.
No,
it's not a scary game, Kyle. It's not meant to be that scary.
That still sounds fucking scary to me.
It's not a scary game, but it's just super, super cool. You'll be walking through spaces and she's talking to herself about what she's seeing, and then there's whispers in her head of no, turn around, get out of there, you need to go here. No, they're it's conflicting personalities all battling with each other, basically.
That sounds awesome.
So very, very cool. The first game, honestly, gameplay, combat wise, it's nothing to write home about. It definitely has a little bit more of that indie like AA studio kind of stuff. So you can tell they spent a lot of their money on other things first, and the gameplay part of it was almost kind of secondary. But there is a sequel coming out. Xbox actually jumped on board as a publisher. So way bigger budget. There's already a trailer for the sequel as well.
Sweet.
So I'm really hoping to give that a go. But yeah, for anybody that's into Norse mythology, likes the God of War series, but wants something a little bit more story driven and more just like kind of a slower pace story, definitely check out Hellblade. I 100% recommend that to anybody.
On brand. I like that you matched it up with like the main theme for the week.
Hey, done. Season 4, we're improving every day, guys.
Doing our homework early. Yeah. Because that one came out similar time to Plague Tale, didn't it?
I think it came out a little bit earlier than that. Yeah. But there was a couple years there where we had a few games that were all like, AA studios,
dark indie games that just blew up.
Yeah. So,
which is awesome because both of those games, I'm glad they actually got one that they either got bought or they got huge funding to do a second one, because everyone's like, these are actually really fucking good games.
Mention mainly because of the devs. So the developers, Ninja Theory. I've played a bunch of their games over the years. My very first PS3 game was from them. It was called Heavenly Sword. It was okay. One of the first like story-driven action games of that console. And then a hugely underrated series, which I wish would get a remake or even a sequel, is called Enslaved Odyssey to the West.
Quite a title.
Yeah.
These guys really like to go for it in the title.
Yeah. No shit.
They like their single word and then colon and giant explanation. Yeah. But Enslaved was a phenomenal game. If you pick it up on YouTube, look at some trailers. A lot of the gameplay in that you can see in a lot of open world third person action games of today.
Okay.
Hugely underrated, but big cult following.
Sounds like a really dark PS3. Oregon Trail.
Honestly, kind of.
Shit.
It's like post-apocalyptic. You play two slaves basically. One of which who has connections to the old technology of the old world. And so you've got like one character who's a brute and smashes, a bunch of shit. And then you've got a female character who has like gadgets and special abilities and stuff. Yeah.
Aloy and Kratos have joined forces and...
But Ninja Theory makes some really good third-person action games. So anytime they announce a new project, it usually catches my attention.
That's awesome. All right,
sweet.
Check it out.
Thank you for that one, Jordan. Do you want to say the title of that one again?
Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Hellblade:
I'm assuming the second one has a long title too. I'm just Hellblade 2. Just
Electric Boogaloo.
The sacrificing.
The sacrificing.
Yeah.
More sacrificier.
Hellblade, extra hell on the side.
Oh man.
Holy.
I'm good.
Back to your regular scheduled programming.
Yes. So, now the big thing with God of War going forward, is there going to be a third one? Do you think, like prediction wise, where are we going to go? Are they going to cap it off? Is Kratos going to just like go through, first the Greek gods and then Norse mythology and then somehow find his ass in Egypt or something?
I was just going to say, he's going to Egypt.
I was going to guess Mayan. I was like, he's going to Mexico.
Ooh.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of blood.
Uncharted crossover there.
There's a lot of blood sacrifice there. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. So they've already said publicly that this is the wrap for obviously the Norse games. They were only doing 2 to kind of wrap up this story. I have seen some conspiracy theory shit online of a potential Easter egg. There's like some wall painting murals in a cave or on a rock wall somewhere. And there's only one character that's depicted in gold. And so and somebody was like, well, really the only culture that uses gold for this type of stuff is Egyptian. And so people think that was kind of their slight Easter egg to say like, Kratos is going to be making his way there.
That's a really good pantheon of gods that you could do some cool shit with.
Look out, Horus.
Like those, well, like say any of those old any of those ancient cultures always have lots of gods. Like you've got your eagle-headed people, you've got the alligators, hippos, like you've got all the really good monsters. Maybe
we're gonna see an MCU crossover.
Okay,
Kratos in the MCU is canon.
Kratos versus Moon Knight.
Khonshu in there somewhere.
It's not gonna happen.
Just Kratos freaking out.
You're more likely to see Kratos in something DC related since they've lent out that license to NetherRealm Studios in the past.
True.
All I can picture is Kratos and then just flickering in that song of every time I wake up and then just a room full of like bloody dead people. Like, Kratos would be like, oh, this is normal. This is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
This is my every Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, Egypt would be cool. That probably that's probably the easiest one for him to move to.
Yeah.
Like you said, Trev, there's so much to pull
There's
from.
An abundance.
Yeah.
Kratos goes west.
Can't put him into the Buddhist universe, so
yeah, he doesn't really fit that very well.
No.
Kratos finds himself.
You say pacifist or pass my fist?
It's just a therapy game. Just therapy.
Just like a roam, just like a casual free roam game.
Like Journey, but it's just Kratos walking through the desert.
Just going on a walkabout.
He's going to find himself.
I guess early on, I know it's early for most of you guys. Do you guys have any like complaints? Tidbits?
No,
I always like, I don't know. I'm sure it's very hard to do. But I'm always like, wouldn't it be cool if you have a continuation game? This is the second coming of this game. I'm hoping to God they do it with the next Final Fantasy remake chapter, or I'm going to be livid.
We kind of have to. That's kind of the same game, just more of it.
Give me all the shit that I already unlocked. Like, give me all of the, not like all. I don't need all the runes. Like they took away the magic. That stuff is fine. But like, I should be able to load up the gear that I finished in. I should be able to have the armor that I finished the game in, and my frost axe should look the way that I finished crafting it at the end of the game. This is like what I think. The Chaos Blades should look like what they look like when I was done with them in the previous game. If it's a continuation, that's my only gripe. I don't know how difficult it is to do that for programming. I don't know how to do that, so I'm not going to go.
That'd be kind of tough because if someone just picked it up for the first time, for some reason not playing the first one, you've got to give them like some sort of half decent gear.
I know,
because
but
otherwise you got to like scale all the enemies to like the fact that you've got this like sweet gear.
I don't even need the stats. I just want the appearance. So like if there's just a standard, if there's the standard look like there is now in the game, like if the original appearance of the weapons are what they want to go for, and then you add on to it or whatever, But it's like if my crafting from the previous game comes through in immediately, I don't give a shit about the stats. I don't care about the bonuses. You can wipe all that. I'm cool with that. But if my Kratos looks the same as I finished the last one, I think that adds like a whole other thing. But I don't know
hashtag not my Kratos.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, fell like Fimbulwinter disenchanted my armor, but it's still there.
Yeah.
It still looks cool.
Yeah. I just, that's my only gripe. The game feels great. Combat feels great. Movement mechanics feel like super fluid and fun. It's like picking up a book that you haven't read for a long time, like you just left off and you're just going to keep going. Like it's just it just felt very seamless. I loved the little tie-in video, the little recap. You can tell time has passed because Atreus' voice has changed and he's a little bit taller and more experienced and stuff.
Apparently, they had to do a lot of heavy editing based on how long it took them to do all the voice.
Oh my god!
Like capturing because his voice changed because I think he actually did hit like full on puberty, so they had to edit it back to be like one consistent sound.
Wow!
Oh wow! Yeah. The game looks phenomenal visually. It just feels
like you
great.
said. So loading it up just felt like putting on a comfy old pair of sweatpants.
Yeah.
It's just like this is what I remember. This is easy. I got this.
The dad pants with pizza stains on them.
Kirkland brand.
Yeah.
Shout out Costco.
Yeah.
What? Just sweatpants are Kirkland?
No, Sean John sweatpants. Is that brand relevant anymore?
No.
Also, shout out to the accessibility team. Gaming now is kind of funny in a way because like console gaming is getting more and more like PC gaming every year. Just the amount of graphical options and like sound options and accessibility things. Playing the new Call of Duty this year, like I feel like I'm operating a fucking PC menu 90% of the time.
Yeah.
But God of War. Kudos to the devs. If you ever go through the accessibility menu, there's a ton of options in there for everything from audio subtitle options to even just like visibility things for people that might not be able to see things very well or pick up on certain colors. And then even just like quality of life gameplay stuff. So like I think I mentioned to you guys when I started playing, you can go into the options and change to have health orbs auto picked up rather than having to walk over and press a physical button.
Oh man, I gotta do that.
I turned auto pickup on for everything.
Yeah. There's lots of little things like that where you would never think about that at the start of any game. But when you toggle it and like see it in action, you go, fuck, I could never go back. Like, this is such a nice thing to have as an option. So kudos to the devs for even thinking about stuff like that, because I think that's awesome.
Well done.
Especially in a game like this where it's like you don't have like an inventory stash size, and most of the stuff you're picking up is pretty targeted anyways. Like this isn't a Diablo or like a looter game where you're getting like loads and loads of gear.
It's just sift through stuff.
Yeah, so it's just like to be able to just be like, okay, I'm going to be picking up silver, some like parts.
It auto absorbs.
Yeah, just get everything I need and then figure it out later. But I don't need to like stand and hold the square button every single time.
Oh my
to
god!
Pick up like 3 things because a boss dropped it. It's like, just pick them all up.
Pick them all up.
Just pick it up.
I agree.
I think we're pretty tapped out. I mean, part of the problem is we need to go play more of the game. So maybe we'll go do that tonight. But bless you.
Sorry, Jordan Simon sneezed.
Yeah. This is one of the ones I think for sure for me. I think it's going to be a platinum. The series as a whole, especially these past 2, have been masterpieces, and I completely expect to be blown away with the rest of the game like I was the first one, because I I could not put the first one down. Like as soon as I was, on the hunt for that platinum, it was like from the get-go.
Also, God of War Ascension is booty cheeks. So that game we will ignore as masterpiece, but yes.
Oh no, just the last two.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just
God of War 2, God of War 2 and 3 were both very good.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm not talking like current age.
Okay. Like the reboot version.
The extended. Yeah.
Reboot.
The extended Snyder cut version.
There's an old one for everybody. Reboot.
Great show.
Hey, that's on Tubi. I don't know if anyone's ever used that streaming service, but Reboot is on Tubi. Look it up. It's awesome.
Watch that shit, people.
Yeah.
That show was ahead of its time, man. Let me tell you.
It never finished, and it's heartbeaking that it never finished. But man, that show is legit.
To me, Reboot and Beast Wars. Like to me, those two shows, man. Fuck, loved both of those growing up.
Late 90s, early 2000s animation.
Yeah. I think I credit Reboot for my my early interest in like metal music because of that, like Enzo's birthday where Bob and Megabyte have that like guitar battle.
Just
and
pure
I was just
metal.
like, I was thinking watching as a kid, I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Something inside of me just awoken.
Holy shit, that was hard off track. But anyways,
to our God of War and Reboot episode.
It's the God of War reboot.
Yeah.
That's a collaboration we never knew we needed until now.
Anyways, go watch Reboot if you haven't already because it's amazing. Never mind the graphics. It's a wonderful jump into nostalgia. Definitely look forward to hearing from us more when we start talking about Game of the Year stuff with God of War, because I think it's definitely in the conversation. Yeah. It's right up there. So
there will be arguments.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Can't
Once
wait.
Again, thank you for listening. Have yourselves a great morning, noon, night.
He's their Truman Show.
Whatever. It's good enough.
Good enough.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at GEG Podcast. Check out our website, goodenoughgaming.com, and write us an email about anything from our episodes or something you would like us to discuss in the future. You can also now join us on Discord on the Good Enough Gaming Discord server. We really appreciate you listening and hope you continue to join us on this epic adventure of discussing all things gaming and nerdy. Please subscribe to the Good Enough Gaming podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever else you listen to your podcasts, and rate us 5 stars so we can find more good enoughers in the process. Just remember, we might not be great, but we are good enough.